Are you back, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm in. Audio's good. Ready to go.
Got it. Cowboys and the Rams, Tim. Give me your take. And
It's funny because
also make sure you I don't know what's happening in LA in terms of the Rams fans. Is that growing or what's happening? But also touch on that for me.
yeah. So first off, like I was impressed by the game itself. It was a very big game in a sense of divisional weekend. You got the top 8 teams in the league playing. Very good action, good drama. But I thought it was a well-played game. I thought the better team won. I don't think that anyone expected the Rams to run for 273 yards. And I think that's why they won, is because Dallas was not prepared for them to run like they did. And they ran. They used Jared Goff to soften up that run defense. He hit a couple passes here and there. And then all of a sudden, you saw C.J. Anderson, and you're like, oh, he got 7 yards on first down. Oh, now you got Todd Gurley. He's going to get you 5 to 6 on first, second down. And so I think that the Cowboys weren't ready for it, but I do think that, and you guys know I'm a Giants fan, so it's difficult giving the Cowboys any type of love, but I think they earned some respect. They were not a championship contender this year, but I think for what they did this year, they won the East after starting 3-5. They won a playoff game at home. Coming out to the Rams, who were averaging 35 points a game, like you have to expect that they're going to try and put up some points at home. They did what they were supposed to do. I think the better team won. But I do think that Dallas has some things to build off of. The mistakes they made, linebackers coach chewing out the linebackers during the game, that kind of stuff. If they fix that kind of stuff, they'll be a good team. They got some free agency stuff to go over, but I think all in all it was a successful season for them. But I think the Rams did what they were supposed to do, and let's move on to the championship game.
All right, so let me ask you guys this, and I'm going to come to you one by one. All right? And this is a quick 5-10 second should be your answer, no more. If Alex Smith doesn't go get hurt, do the Cowboys make the playoffs? Tim?
No.
Zaire?
Zaire, are you there? I think they're gone.
Okay.
All right. I agree. I agree with what Tim said.
They don't even make the playoffs.
They don't, because they were struggling. And don't forget, October they were talking about fire the coach in Dallas.
Right.
So yeah, they were in trouble. They were in big trouble. But I think that one of the things that we haven't hit on yet, and I think we're probably getting there, I think Dallas got out-coached. Sean McVay came in there, and Tim kind of said they came in with a game plan. They had a nice game plan, and they took it to them. I mean, they took away what Dallas likes to do, which is run, and then they came and ran on Dallas, which is the thing they're supposed to be able to be good at stopping. And they forced the ball into Dak's hands. So all the credit goes out to Sean McVay on that one, because he put an amazing plan together and used a guy that nobody thought he was going to use. You know, C.J. Anderson coming in doing what he did. Nobody thought that was going to happen.
Right. And you know the secret to that now?
What?
The part of that no one is considering, the fact that Gurley only ran the ball 16 times.
Yeah.
That's a few hits that's not going to hurt him next week.
Because they're trying to build him up for the big game and the Super Bowl.
So the fact that you got out of a game, a playoff game, a divisional game with a win, and your best player only got 16 touches, and you were able to get somebody else to do the workhorse work.
But guess what? C.J. Anderson playing like that, they have game plan for that probably 2-3 weeks ago.
Right.
That they knew this was going to happen because your boy was hurt. Gurley was hurt.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that was crafty.
All right.
The way he pulled that off.
On Sunday, the Eagles at the Saints indoors. Saints, of course, get the win 20-14. The Nick Foles run has finally ended. Some stats from that game. The great one, Drew Brees.
He was 28 for 38, 301 yards and 2 TDs. That's what Drew Brees did.
Yeah. Yeah. 28 for 38, 301, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. On the ground, Alvin Kamara, 16 carries, 71 yards. Mark Ingram, 9 for 53, including a long of 36 that broke this game. In receiving, Michael Thomas, 12.
16 targets.
16 targets.
12 receptions.
That's how you win a ball game. You throw to your man.
And he came back with 171
Right.
yards, 1 TD.
Ted Ginn, 3 for 44. Kamara, 4 catches, 35 yards. All right. On the Eagles side, Nick Foles, 18 of 31, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Wendell Smallwood, 10 carries, 33 yards. Receiving, Alshon Jeffrey, 5 catches, 63 yards on 8 targets.
And a big drop that caused a fumble or
in the
interception.
game. Right,
Yeah.
right. So that was really the play of the game. Alshon Jeffrey's ball that went right through his hands. I'm watching that, and it's so hurtful when you see that because the dude's hands are so good.
And he said it. He advertises his hands all the time.
He was living
like an
off of
Allstate
it.
commercial.
He made a couple of catches in this game that were just all hands. And, for that to happen like that,
It's like he threw a lob pass.
That
is so crushing.
Yeah.
Tim, what's your takeaway from this game? Saints 20, Eagles 14.
I thought this was a very entertaining game. Came right down to, the end, and it's funny because when I was watching the game, I was a little behind. I was on the DVR, so I was a little behind. But as I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, man, these guys always talk about winning as a team, and it's a team game. And, when I saw Alshon Jeffries drop the pass, at that point I knew it was over. I mean, pretty much everybody knew it was over. It's interception game time, right? I was like, man, it really comes down to critical plays and critical timing situations that really, determine championships. And who's going to win these championships? Which receiver's going to run the best route to where they're running a curl route, but they, at the top of their route, they shake somebody and make them turn around, and now the ball, instead of getting knocked down, is a completion. Like, this is going to be what determines games. And while I know all his teammates, to a man, are going to be like, hey, we got his back, we stand by him, he's a great receiver. Like, he lost the game for him. Like, he didn't win it for him, but he lost the game for them. Yeah. And so, that's the type of stuff you're going to see, coming down to February, that, you're going to see championships won and lost based off of a small number of plays in clutch situations. Because for the rest of the stuff, like, between the 20s, it's normal football. Like, we're going to run some, we're going to pass some, we're going to get a couple plays, might have a sack. If we can avoid turnovers, like, you're going to get a couple clutch plays at the end of the game that's going to dictate them. And whoever, comes out on the right side of that's going to win. And that's what, you saw in that Philly game with the Saints. Like, one bad play really cost them the game.
So, Tim, I'm gonna stand up for Alshon Jeffrey here.
Okay.
I don't think he cost them the game because everybody talks about analytics in sports, and I'm of the opinion that analytics is widely misused and misunderstood, misinterpreted. But from an analytics perspective, my analytic perspective, which is different than the mainstream analytic narrative, is when you have
your eye test. This your eye test.
Right. When you have a player like this that is so dominant with his hands, that does not last. Eventually, the numbers are going to catch up to him. He's got to drop something. Something. So it's not a case where he necessarily cost them the game, because all his teammates are going to look back on his past and be like, nah, he catches everything. This is just the one. This is just the one. You know what I mean? It's a numbers thing. You can't catch every ball.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it came at this time, his drop. If you give him that play again 100 times, 97 times he's going to come through. The numbers failed him here. because I mean, it hit his hands. Everything was there. Everything was there. So I don't think people are going to really look at it and blame him only because he always comes through with his hands.
They are. They're going to blame him because when you keep coming on TV and advertising you got the best hands in the game and you let a ball go through your hands like that, they're going to get him. You're only as good as your last performance. Yeah. And they're going to, just like the dude missed the field goal in Chicago.
He might actually still be face down on the Superdome floor.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Note to self, if you ever do bad in a game, don't cry at midfield like Thurman Thomas. Don't lay on the ground and wait because it just sticks. They're going to keep playing that over and just get up, get out of there. Yeah. I mean, he's a champion. I mean, what are you going to do?
Right.
So.
Well, the Eagles were there. They had it. It came down to a couple plays. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I can stand up for the guy, too. Ultimately, though, that play cost him the football game.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he could not have won it on that play because, they were still down. But they had the ball right where they had the Saints where they wanted them. Yep. In November, the Saints blew their doors off.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the score, like 45-14 or something?
It was bad.
They blew their doors off. The fact that they had a chance in New Orleans coming off a bye, you're down 6
with a chance to win and can run the clock
to go
out
in the game.
Yes.
Like you're in the best case scenario you could have possibly been in as a team outside of leading the game outright with the ball. They have no timeouts. You're up 2 possessions. It's like outside of that, this was the way that they were going to win this football game. And while Alshon Jeffrey has great hands and is a very good receiver, part of the reason that they were iffy on paying him in Chicago was he did have some drops. Being an Odell Beckham fan, being a Giants fan, when I see Odell drop passes, when I see him drop a pass that he should catch 100 out of 100, and he drops it, I'm like, man. But you know what? He's human. So I get that. I get all of that in the sense of Alshon Jeffries making that play again if he had it to do it over.
Right, but
that is the great thing and the great equalizer about NFL football. It is the best of 1. It is not the best of 7. It ain't the best of 5. You don't have that chance to do what David Tyree did and catch it off the helmet. You get one shot to win that bowl. And you have to take it, and if you miss it, hey, look, I'm not going to be like, oh, you got to kick him off the team. He's a bum. He lost the game. He couldn't have won it, but he lost it.
Yeah. It was a very valiant effort, though. I got to give the Eagles mad credit because they came right out and hit them in the mouth. They were up 14-0. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's very impressive in the Superdome. Like people were really starting to question, like, what kind of day are we about to have? And even on top of that, knowing the injuries that they had, I don't know who their strength and conditioning coach is, but they need to revisit whoever that is because that whole entire team all year long, DBs, defensive line, running backs, people just dropping,
right.
And as I watched this game, the injuries started creeping up on them again. Fletcher Cox, they had other injuries that were going on. And I was like, man, these guys are in trouble. And I didn't think they were going to make it when the injuries started happening. But they did what you had to do. Down 6 in New Orleans. That's all you asked for. Nick Foles, who's been money the whole time, he didn't lose a game. Right. So
they were there, and I felt like they were going to score.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to score.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, if I can even just take you back a week prior, you look at the kicker, Parkey, for the Bears. Yeah. The Bears couldn't do anything else to win that game. The blood, sweat, tears, all the cliche stuff you want to throw in there, they did everything to win that game. He missed a 43-yard field goal.
But here's the thing.
Kicker has one job, but if the kicker misses and don't do his job, he loses the game.
Right, but here's the thing. So, I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get a chance to comment on this, on how the Bears messed this up.
Okay.
They had one play to move the ball to the middle of the hash, and they didn't take it. That was the game.
Situational
so
football.
I sat there, and I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, now you got it. All you got to do, fall forward to the middle of the hash. They didn't do it, and that's the field goal.
That's true.
So not that he would have made it,
It would have made
But
it
it's
easier.
a big difference.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
And there was a free
But y'all,
play.
come on, man. We are in Chicago in January. There's there's no snow on the ground. Like, I know you can move to the hash mark. It's situational football.
Right. No, they had
you
the
want to
free
put
down.
your kicker in the best situation.
They
Yeah,
missed it.
but tell me what Adam Vinatieri did in the snow for the Patriots against the Raiders. Like, you have to step up. Like, the ball is not going to be given to you.
Nope.
Like, none of this stuff is going to be given to you, and it could be the easiest play, the hardest play, whatever the case may be. Like, you got to make that 43-yarder. Yes, he's human. He missed it. But he's been missing like that all year. Right? He's been hitting the crossbar all year. But what I'm saying is that the champions are going to rise to the top, opposed to, oh, that's not really his fault. Oh, the Eagles were up 14-0. They should have put their foot down on their throats and never even been in a situation for them to, like, you could tell me all of that. However,
champions are
at
going to
the
win.
end of the game, championships are going to stand up. Like, they're going to rise to the top. If you want it, you got to go get it.
Right. You're 100% right.
That's just always my thought on it. But you got to go get it. And we can make excuses for why it didn't happen or what. And it's football. We're all humans. So, it is a game. So in the perspective of life, like, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad for some time. I can't tell you how long that kick is going to last for him. And sometimes, it can even go beyond your playing career. You look at Scott Norwood. Like,
hey, that
really affected him.
Are you kidding me?
So
I've seen, there's been, depression and all those things we're not going to joke about. It's all,
that's real.
It's all part of it.
That's real.
But there's baseball pitchers that have killed themselves after blowing saves.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you can easily have post-traumatic stress syndrome from this.
Right.
Yes.
Like, and it could be like the young cat, the cornerback for the Saints that last year, Stephon Diggs scored on in the divisional round. And, the Saints thought that we were going to get there, and that happened. Like, it can last with you, and you don't make light of it, and you want to think that they're big, strong guys, and they can last, and they're tough, but that can really affect people, and so you don't make light of it, but you still know that this is why you play. If you're not playing, if you're not a competitor, right? You don't get to this level if you're not a competitor, and if you don't compete at some level. There's only 32 starting kicking jobs in the league. There's only 32 starting quarterback jobs in the league. So, like, to have one of those out of the hundreds of millions of people that live in America, like, that's saying something. But to get that ultimate prize, you got to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important when you get it, and they can't take it away from you, because for that time, that year, you guys were the best team to ever play.
Right. And the reason that depression and all that stuff sets in is because a lot of times you only get one shot. You can't just come back and hit the reset button and come back and do, because if you can come back again and then right the wrong, then everything's cool. But if you do something like that, and that's the last thing that everybody remembers you by, whew.
Right. So, Sunday at 3 p.m., the Rams will travel to New Orleans to face the Saints. 3:05. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Loser goes on a golfing trip.
I think they can get them. I think the Rams can get the Saints, and I'm pulling for the Saints because that's who I picked to go to the Super Bowl. But I think they can get them, mainly because what I saw the Eagles, were able to do with them when their secondary is not supposed to be up to par. The defensive line barely got pressure on Drew Brees, but they still kind of had them in that phase where they only scored 20 points. They can be got.
Now, New Orleans beat L.A. earlier this season.
Yeah. Pretty bad. Well, not pretty bad. It was
right. It was L.A. was on the run. L.A. was undefeated at the time, and New Orleans, and that's really when New Orleans took over as the better team in the conference in terms of record. Tim, what are you thinking about this game on Sunday? Rams at New Orleans. Tell me who you're picking and tell me why they're going to win.
Ooh, honestly, I haven't gotten down to who I'm picking just yet, but I'll give you one. I'll give you one after I tell you what I think of the game. I think it's a game that most people envision Two of the highest scoring teams in the NFC this year going up. I think it's going to be a well-played game for one that it's indoors. So, climate control, fast turf. You're going to get a game that's made for these offenses.
Yeah.
I think the team whose defense stands up the most is what's going to win. I think this could be a game of turnovers, and whichever team wins that battle, I think will have a shot at winning the game. Both of these teams really got off to hot starts this year and kind of showed, a little sense of you could find weak spots in their game towards the end of the year. And so I think that now that the Rams have, the Saints on tape from that first game, they saw how they won and lost that game. Ultimately, they lost that game. But they saw how that game was won and how they lost it. I think they'll be prepared. It's tough going on the road. I'm leaning towards the Rams because I think they'll win the turnover battle. But I think I honestly believe that it will be a high scoring game. So I'm thinking somewhere in the 30s, both teams.
Okay. Here's what I think. I don't think that I'm not a believer in Jared Goff. Honestly, the only person that I believe in is
McVay. That's who I believe in. I don't believe in Goff either. I believe in McVay.
I believe in Gurley.
Okay.
I believe in Donald. And being in New Orleans, I believe the Saints have an advantage. If this is going to be a shootout, Jared Goff doesn't have a chance because he's going up against the shootout king, or at least the shootout prince, right? There's no other quarterback not named Tom Brady that you want in this situation.
Mahomes, maybe?
No.
Not Drew Brees, though.
No.
Drew Brees
it's Drew Brees.
Drew Brees
it's
is
Drew
a gunslinger.
Brees.
Drew Brees is a
Because
gunslinger.
Mahomes, you're still wishing.
Yeah.
You're still hoping. You're still believing what you're going to see. Drew Brees, you drawing on memory. You're drawing on what he has done. You're drawing on a 40 or 41-year-old with a ton of experience, with a Super Bowl championship, with 50,000 plus NFL yards. I believe all-time leading passer in NFL history, actually. So I'm going to look at that and the fact that they are home as the key factor and say that the Saints are going to put up points in the high 30s, and they're going to take this game 38-24 easily over the Rams.
Okay. and I'll add another stat to that. In NFL history, Drew Brees holds the record for most game-winning drives in NFL history with 46.
Right.
So if it comes down to, ball in your hands, sort of like they had against Philly,
right?
Drew Brees is the guy that you want in that situation.
Right. And so this is now this is a paradox because of Goff not having this experience, right? Goff might take the ball with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and go score and take a lead, right? You're not actually supposed to do that because you can't give him the ball back. You see what I'm saying? Now, Gurley's smart. We've seen Gurley lay down on multiple occasions to keep a clock running. Is Goff ready for that?
Well, that's the thing. Goff wasn't ready when he was with Jeff Fisher. He wasn't ready. It's Sean McVay that makes him tick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think appropriately coached, he can do what you need him to do. But I don't trust him like I would like a Drew Brees.
Right.
I mean, there's no way.
Right. So what we're saying is, if Drew Brees gets a chance to win the game under 2 minutes with the ball, they've got it. He's going to win the game. So
and that's, ultimately, it's going to play out on the field. I think I don't have the same lack of trust in Goff that you have. I think Goff is a very, very, at this point in his career, serviceable quarterback and trying to help his team get to and win a Super Bowl.
Right.
As long as he does not turn the ball over, I think the Rams have action. If he turns the ball over, that will be tough for the Rams to overcome. But against Dallas, He didn't turn the ball over. And so even by the smallest of margins, they won that game. You know, he did not turn the ball over. And if he does not turn the ball over, they have very capable weapons out there. You Gurley and now C.J. Anderson, his emergence now in the playoffs, like that's like having Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen again. Like it's just unfair if C.J. Anderson is gonna run like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna be hard for you to stop that, and that's gonna be what Philly is gonna, or not Philly, what the Saints is gonna be prepared for this week. They just saw what they did to Dallas, 273 yards on the ground. Like you cannot tell me that the Saints this week's preparation will not be focused on the run. And you got Reynolds, you got Woods, you got these wide receivers that are big, they can get open. You got Cooks who can stretch the field, and he's coming back to New Orleans, and he wouldn't mind going for a $105 and 2 touchdowns if he could. I think that if Goff does not turn the ball over, that is why the Rams have action at this game. All that stuff with Drew Brees and them winning, like if the Rams can slow down that running game of Kamara and of what's my guy's name?
Kamara and
Ingram. Mark Ingram.
Right.
I honestly believe that it's going to be a turnover game, and I think the Rams win it.
Okay. Did we get your pick before we move on?
I'm gonna stick with the Saints. I really do like the Rams, but I'm sticking with the Saints because that was my pick.
Okay.
Early on.
All right, cool. Listeners, viewers, please click on that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter at Council Talk, on Instagram at Council_Sports Talk 2 Joes. Check us out live every Monday night between 8 and 10 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube via the GS Radio YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe on the GS Radio channel also.